We're recording again. All right, we will exit executive session and resume.
That's all I have for you gentlemen today.
Thank you.
Yeah, letting them, they're talking, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, well,
See you.
see
Happy New Year.
you. See you. Thanks for
Happy New
coming.
Year. Thanks for having us. Hello, hello. Hi, how are you? Thank you for having us. Very. She's the real brains of the operation. Actually, we brought some information for you guys as well. You guys can see. Yeah,
So,
we weren't sure how many, so
that's fun.
we'll give you three and we'll use one for a little bit. Will that work?
Okay.
All right, all right.
More than a month.
So I think, if you jump right, I think what we were looking to do is kind of give you the status of the program, and talk about some of the additional tools that it could be leveraging.
Yeah.
Just to get an idea of what else is out there.
Right, yeah, I'll jump in
Yeah,
real
sure.
quick just to get some context, history. So essentially, I saw this program at the CCAO conference 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something along those lines. So we've taken some baby steps to implement it and implement the program, which has been helpful, but it's strictly been used as a credit card for those one-off purchases, like hotel rooms, conference registration, some meals, that sort of thing outside of the county. But again, CCAO conference, December, saw the presentation again, hadn't come into county administrators, association group. So I thought it might be best to have these folks come in and explain it in detail, much better than what I can. So with that said, we did invite the auditor to this meeting. She politely declined, I think. We'll leave it at that. So it has been something that we've been sort of working towards for a while now. But the auditor is basically maintains a position that she hasn't decided whether or not she wants to really move forward with any more of the tools that we are utilizing now. So
That's right. To help with that, what you'll find, at the very end of this is, actually, we have 3 references from other counties who leverage the tools that they're happy to speak to whoever about how they use it, so.
But Rob, refresh my recollection, the county auditor was involved in the initial meeting, correct? I mean, she's somewhat familiar with the program. She sat in on the original meeting, or she declined to participate in any of the meetings. I know we've discussed this program in session before.
Ooh. She is aware of the program. She simply stated in her message yesterday that she knows all about the program and she hasn't decided. But the commissioners annually have had discussions with her in session of their preference of moving forward with the program based on the rebate program and whether it streamlines the process for the auditor's office. So she's aware of the county commissioner's position.
I think we've had difficulty getting vendors paid, right? I mean, that's historically been a problem with some other offices, getting people paid on time.
Yes, that's a big emphasis of some of the tools that can be offered to the commercial card program, so.
Yeah, a lot of our vendors, they don't want a paper check anymore. They prefer some sort of
ACH, credit card payment, absolutely.
the transaction. The engineer has a credit card, a separate credit card. I don't know if they're still using that or if they're using a Huntington card, but essentially they were driving a check out to the bank because the credit card payment was not being made in time, on time.
Yeah.
Where, this is quite a bit different than that. And there's plenty of checks and balances built in as well. So
I say, I mean, you probably have heard instances where bills are not getting paid on time or getting paid late, or we've had issues with payment.
Not as much since we've kind of streamlined and Rhonda's help and all that. It's not as bad as it was when we started, but it's still, I think the contractors who work with the county know what's gonna be a few weeks before I'm gonna get paid, Just
But we still have a 2-week drag.
Yeah,
Whenever I get a bill, it's another 2 weeks before they get paid. So, yeah, that's even goes for the water bills, the electric bills, and depending on how well London puts their invoices out, we're on the almost late list every time for the water bills.
okay.
Would you like us to go through some of this information?
Yeah,
Would that maybe be helpful and we can kind of go from there? It's over. And just so you know, so I'm Eddie Bauman, so I'm your guys' banker for the county. And then Ashley Patel is your treasury management banker for the county. So think about all things money moving in and out of the accounts. That's Ashley's specialty, which this would obviously be that, very much so.
So, we won't, everything, I know you're familiar with the card, you've probably heard the spiel before, but we did put a couple of slides in here that will help with what you're describing. Not only getting a better rebate, from the county, but also getting your bills paid faster, so, the one thing on page 5, if you want to start on page 5, and I'll give you this out.
Sorry, Steve, about your.
So, and you can have this, afterwards as well. But page 5, so we did add, since the last time we probably spoke, a mobile app for your card holder. So those individuals that are traveling and using their card, it's easier to, take that receipt, upload it, send it right away instead of, we have a lot of customers who their employees lose their receipts when they're traveling and they're creating like a paper receipt or forget to upload that type of thing. So a lot of our customers and government are really happy with that mobile app. So that's just a new experience. That's not anything that costs you anything. It's just a new technology that we're using for the bank. So on your existing purchases for your card, if any of your card holders are interested in that mobile app, we can connect further on that. So we won't spend too much time on that, but we do want you to know that that's available. And then, so page 8. So what we did, and this is probably the most important thing of the conversation, we took your top vendors. So we ran an analysis of all the checks that you are currently writing on your account. So 922 payees, and this is over like an annual span, so about 11 months or so worth of data. The total vendors accepting are 66, total transactions 747, and then your total volume accepting. Now this page shows only those vendors that we know for sure are accepting cards in some form or fashion. So those are ones that you can easily, if you wanted to, transition to a virtual card type of payment, which we know would be faster and it would attribute more to your rebates.
Like we have other clients who we know are already paying them by card, so we know they would accept card as well. And to her point, virtual card, are you guys familiar at all with the concept of virtual card, what that is? It can give you a quick refresher if you want. So you can actually set up a credit card where if I wanted to pay you one time, that card actually gets established, that 116-digit card number is established for one-time use. For you to use that one time, then it can never be used again. So it's highly secure, but that all rolls back to your card program. So we have a lot of folks who use virtual card to pay their vendors. It's a major security tool, basically. Somebody can't compromise your card number, right? You can set a dollar amount. You can set it to be like a recurring thing if they're going to bill you monthly to that card number. You can put a lot of tools and restrictions around it. So we have a lot of folks who will use just virtual cards.
So page 9 and 10, page 9 just shows who we think suppliers that would be high matches. So these ones are not already enrolled in our system, but these are ones that we find to be high matches. Page 10 are actually suppliers that you use that are already enrolled. So that just means other Huntington customers are already paying them by virtual card. So we know that they accept it for sure. So, and it just shows you the amount. And again, we just did the top 20. We didn't want the booklet to be, 100 pages, but if you choose to kind of move to that where you want to start paying by card, virtual card, we would do a complete spend analysis on all of your vendors. And Huntington will actually call each vendor for you and say, we're working with Madison County, do you accept card? And if you do, would you charge them a fee? If they charge you a fee, we leave it up to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometimes it may make sense, sometimes it doesn't. If they do charge a fee, you could send them an ACH payment. Sometimes, some don't take, if it's like a small contractor, sometimes they do still want a check. We would send that check out on your behalf. So we're basically just taking care of that whole payables, thing off your desk. So, you still have a lot of say so in it. Like I said, you will select how each vendor gets paid. So it is really up to you, how we do that. And you could start, if you're not really comfortable, I have a customer in Dayton that they're not really comfortable with the virtual card payment yet. They're starting with ACH and check only. So a lot of customers do that and then they add the virtual card later. We recommend virtual card just because that's how you get your rebate. So, we anticipate every $1 million that you spend is $10,000 cash in your account, basically. So
if you're already paying and if you can pay it by card, it's just hard dollars you're gonna put it back for every time.
page 11, and this just shows your current program today. So your limit is $100,000. In November, should say November, the number of cards you had was 14 with 13 active. And then it just shows your annual spend volume from 2025.
Did you know based off those previous couple slides, those potential matches, is there a spend amount in there?
No.
Okay.
No, just basically $1 million, $1 million in spend would be kind of roughly equal to that.
I just, we weren't sure based off those vendors, what it might potentially look like for them. Did we not have that information?
No.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
What we need to do to have that, we would have to have a full analysis of basically your entire check file, and then our team will be able to come up with a number for you. Page 12, this just shows your commercial card rebate schedule. So I believe that's something you have,
Yeah, that's the next one. That's the one that shows kind of, yeah, this is a good one right here.
yeah, and then page 13 just kind of shows an example again of how much you spend in the potential rebate.
Give you like a real world example of what it looks like for different counties, what you spend, what you could potentially earn, so.
So I'll pause for a second and see if there's any questions. I know the big thing, you're already using the card, right? So the big thing on the table is if it's worth your time, investing and expanding. So are there any questions?
Yeah, so with the use of the program as is with the card and kind of this one-off purchases, we earn a rebate,
A very nominal amount.
Very
Yeah,
but it's a small amount
yeah.
because it's a small amount. That's
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, sure,
I
precisely.
just wanted to make sure we were still
Yeah,
at least,
precisely.
Yeah,
some of that.
and you don't have to fully expand to maximize your rebate, right? You could just, if there's instances where you can use the card more, right? Like if you see one vendor on the list that we pay them every quarter, just ask them if they take card. You could just try them first. Some people don't like necessarily giving their card number over the phone. So they like that virtual card because it's the one-time use, like Eddie said. But we do have a lot of customers that'll say, let us pay by card. We want to get that rebate and don't necessarily have the full expansion of the integrated payables. So there are ways to kind of increase your spend without going, like all the way to the right at once, just to get everyone comfortable because it is a good process.
So kind of how you're using it today is sort of the very most basic, just one-offs. The kind of the total other end of the spectrum is what we would refer to as integrated payables, where for you guys, your auditor's office, what they would be doing basically is instead of doing what I would call a check writing to get their warrant list and print those, they would essentially take that file, upload it to Huntington, and then on their behalf, we would pay all those people either by credit card, ACH, or check, depending on how they can be paid. Obviously, we want to try to do credit card first because that's going to generate a rebate. If not, we'll go to ACH because that's the least expensive of the paper methods or manual methods. And if they can't do either of those, we pay by check. And we send that all on your behalf. We do all of the fraud protection behind the scenes. We'll upload your file for positive pay. That way, if there's any checks that clear that don't match anything, they'll still be able to be there to be decisioned by the auditor's office to see if they want to clear or not. So the real power in going, fully that way, obviously, is, there's robust controls in the tool. There's a rebate that can be made that can earn some significant money. We have some other counties, I think they're earning some nice rebate. So they are.
So the rebate page, page 13, where it goes, details the different levels of spending.
Yeah.
So it shows, let's just take 5 million, so the monthly rebate is 25,000, in that case, annual is 47,500. So total, it adds those two columns together, but wouldn't the monthly?
That's 12 months in rebate.
It's 12.
That's
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so 12 months
Yeah.
worth, I see.
But then what we also do is we look at your spend over the year, and then there's an annual kicker that you get paid on top of that. So you'll get your monthly every month based on what you do, but then at the end of the year, we say, okay, what the whole program do? And you get a kicker on top of that, and I think that's spelled out on the previous page. Yeah, if you go back to the previous page, there's a monthly rebate, and then there's an annual bonus. And what that and that's being part of the CCAO, so that annual bonus, as we, more programs are into spending more money, everyone in that program will benefit from that, kind of like a rising tide will raise all boats. Everyone will get to that higher annual payout to keep tier, if that makes sense. So to your point, yeah, if you could spend that, $72,000 a year, so.
So the way that you're compensated on this program is through a fee to the vendor.
Yeah, no, so how you pay for services today, if you guys issue checks or you got ACH is clear, there's costs associated with those. Those costs are simply replaced by this tool. Where we really make money too is you're gonna earn on credit card spread, so's the bank. We're gonna make a little money on the credit card spend too. That's why we're gonna push folks to wanna do it, because it's gonna be mutually beneficial. That's really where we will see the lift.
So there's no fee charged to the vendor.
No,
Oh, you mean like if you.
no,
pay
yeah,
the
no,
tax box?
absolutely not, yeah.
No, not us, but
Yeah,
the vendor.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely not.
Isn't that why vendors will sometimes
Well,
charge?
here's why, yeah, so that's because if they accept credit cards, their merchant provider might make them pay, like if I want to come pay you with a credit card, your merchant provider might be like, yeah, they can do that, I'll pay you $100, but you're gonna owe me $1, and so some people are like, I gotta collect that full amount of money. So I gotta pass that fee on to the card.
So that's the
Yeah.
merchant provider.
That's the merchant provider, that would kind of motivate that vendor to charge a fee. But to her point, what we would do during vendor enrollment is we would reach out to those vendors and say, if Madison County were to pay you by card, would that be okay? Some might say, yeah, sure, pay us. Some might say, you know what, you can, but we're gonna charge them a 3% fee. So we can turn around and pay our merchant provider for accepting the card. Does that make sense?
It does, and how do you handle that when the file's been uploaded?
What do you
You,
mean?
you mentioned, okay, you upload the file,
Mhm.
and then you go item by item.
Mhm.
Will you accept card,
Yeah.
no, ACH, okay? You'll ask, will they charge a fee, right? Then what's the process? Do you go back to the auditor's
Yeah.
office?
So say, hey, look, this vendor's gonna charge you 3%. Do you wanna pay by card, or do you wanna maybe pass on that and we'll pay by ACH or check? We would allow the auditor's office to then make that determination. They might look at, there might be some reason that mathematically it makes sense. I don't know what it would be or why to pay a fee, but most often it wouldn't be. And then you could just pay by those other means.
And how cumbersome is that? Do you send an Excel file and say, here's the highlighted ones if they're not gonna?
Yeah, so it's like a CSV file, so we'll do a whole campaign, so you'll send us a list of all of your vendors, we'll make all the calls, there may be some that you're like, don't call, we already know, we don't wanna pay them by card. So you can kind of like cross those out, but then we'll just give you all the results. And then when we're onboarding a customer, what we do is we go through each vendor and say, what do you want to do? Because the system will save that. So if you're always paying ABC company, you know you want to pay them by ACH. We will have it coded in our system, automatically send out ACH, automatically send out a virtual card, automatically send out a check. And then as you get more comfortable, if you want to start adding more, you could just simply change that. The auditor's office can change that in the system to, we used to send them a check, now we want to do virtual card. It's like a radio button that you just choose, but everything would be your decision. So we don't make any of those decisions on how your vendors get paid.
Just know it's a lot of work to call these vendors. So we're trying to do some of the heavy lifting, to at least get that stuff done up front. So, right. But yeah.
No, what we don't collect, is we don't collect any of their like ACH or routing information. So we're simply calling to see what form of payments they're willing to take and if they're gonna charge you a fee for accepting the card. But we don't collect any of their, we get that a lot. Are you collecting we're not collecting their information. The nice thing is it is stored after you collect it. It is stored in our system. So.
And so what, just to make sure what she's referring to specifically is if somebody's like, no, I don't want to take a card, you can pay me by ACH. we're not gonna say, okay, give me your bank account and routing number so we can give it to Madison County. At that point in time, we would say, okay, we'll let Madison County know, and then we would have them make contact with the vendors to get that account information. That's just sensitive information. We don't want that, the liability of holding on to that information like that. So we wouldn't want to give our folks that, so.
So we're enrolled in this program, but just not fully implementing it, is that?
So you have a card program, so we don't do any of the payables for you. So everything you do today is, I assume you have like a card that individuals check out and stuff like that, cards. That they use for travel or maybe office supplies, so just kind of, and like Eddie said, when you're looking at the spectrum, just really, like on the left side of the spectrum, nothing robust or anything like that, just basic use of the cards, which, I mean, to your point, you're still earning something, but it's, a lot of people are trying to maximize spend. You're already paying these vendors, so why not get money in your account for paying them, is what, the ideal is.
It may be other efficiencies you'll gain by using it as well internally. So people getting paid on time, tracking of information. So, like I said, we have other counties that are doing it. They've clearly been audited, doing this for several years. Things have gone just fine. So sometimes you get a, well, I don't know if it's a, well, yes, it does, so.
Do you know how many counties?
How many counties are currently doing integrated payables?
Yeah.
I think we have
A
three.
lot, we have a lot throughout, Ohio, we, on page 21, like the last page, we just listed 3 references.
Three
Our
biggest ones.
largest ones, if you want to kind of speak to someone to see how they're doing it, but if you want more, we can absolutely get more references, yeah.
But I like those because they're big champions of the program. They know kind of all the ins and outs and bells and whistles, so they could give a lot of context, to your audit staff on how they do it. So, yeah. But as far as costs to the county, this going to integrated payables wouldn't end up costing you guys more. You would earn money by doing this. This would be a net positive to the county for sure.
And again, you make money on the short-term spread.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
primary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there are costs associated, yeah, there are costs associated, so, it makes it seem like, well, you switch to it and there's no change, so there is a monthly fee for the program. It's like, all the other costs are basically what you're spending today, right? It just switches to IP ACH transaction instead of ACH online transaction, or IP check instead of regular checks paid, so those ones are like a wash. The only new cost really is that monthly maintenance fee, it is $125.
But if you do an IP, your rebates.
Yeah, it's gonna cover it, but
Yeah, that's
just to
the,
be, transparent, there would be one new cost.
what questions are the questions you get?
No, you can have things.
Can we-
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. Ron, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was just, if you go into a little bit of detail on the checks and balances that are available to the auditor's office.
Yeah, so, we can have dual authorization, so if one individual wants to submit the file for payment and you want another, individual in the auditor's office to check it before the payments actually go out, we do offer that, so, the nice thing as far as like the cards itself, it could be very robust as far as, like security on them. You could go down to, I'm giving someone that's driving a car, and I only want them to get gas at the pump. That's all they can do. They can't go inside and get gas because you don't know if they're gonna get chips or popper or whatever. So you can be very granular as far as what MCC, they call them MCC codes, and that just means like where you're,
It's all built off a platform called Smart Data that MasterCard built. It's incredibly robust. And so we have our card program. Huntington has the card program for our employees. I have a card, right? So you gotta imagine there's a lot of Huntington cards. We use Smart Data, right?
Mhm.
It can be built out for like an incredibly humongous organization all the way down to like the most basic. And to her point, there's, dual control, there's audit logs, records of everyone who's in, doing what, when and where. There's tons of checks and balances. You can notate roles. You can have somebody have read-only access. You can get highly customizable. And I think the biggest thing we try to do is, we really don't want you to have to totally change what you do to fit around this program. This program really want to fit it around what you do. And to that point, Smart Data can be highly customizable. So, yeah, but it's robust and it's all MasterCard driven. So they're the ones that build it. And that's a free tool. That MasterCard service is a free, that Smart Data access is a free tool.
If you had to, just an estimate on how much of a rebate would we earn? Any idea? Is it the 75,000? Is it 150?
What do you think the vendor list for what you pay? I mean, I would say if, you know, I would say when we look at the vendor list, we estimate maybe 60% of that will be able to be put on card spend. So if you paid all 60% of that by card, then I would say, yeah, it'd probably be like in the, yeah,
Six figures.
in the six.
But like, this is a Grant County, like I imagine your expenses are only gonna continue to go up as more folks move in, so, you know, I think this would be a good.
Yeah, I think I've been supportive of it for a few years now. I mean, the trouble is getting the auditor on board. I don't know that we'll have much luck with that. I don't know what the plan is, if any, to convince her to join the
I'd really
program.
like some, I mean, I would suggest just maybe some engagement with these other counties might help. They can sort of see and hear a real world example and, no, okay.
Yeah, we, last year.
It's a good thought.
It's a good thought.
It's a great thought. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It won't happen.
We made that suggestion last year. I don't know if she reached out to the county or not. Trying to think of what county it was. I don't think it was one of the three that was on the list, but somebody fairly close by.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she had any type of discussion with them or not, but some of the counties that I've talked to that are in the program are definitely proponents.
Well, there's certainly potential, you know, try to get, you know, to the 21st century with some of this new technology and, you know, I think this would be a good fit. You know, counties pay a lot of bills, you know, they got a lot of money going out. And so this is a good way to, you know, just take advantage of having to do that. So,
Yeah, just the rebate program alone, yeah.
well, yeah,
Well, I know it
From
would
the
be.
budget standpoint.
yeah, that's just hard cash in your account, it's just a deposit too. It's not, you know, points or anything, you know, it's literally just a cash rebate. So,
And we have some smaller school districts around Central Ohio that are earning, you know, like 25 to 30. So I know like a county of your size, would be well above that.
yeah, so what would you like us to do? What could we do? Be a better salesperson?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you. I think we tried. I think we tried a number of ways to convince the auditor's office to consider the program, implement the program. As you said, we've encouraged that office more than once to enter the 21st century, without much success. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we can encourage her to send her those list of references, maybe, ask her to make a few phone calls, maybe ask her to talk to the auditors
we should
association.
follow up too.
Yeah.
You know, we can re-engage, you know, I know we have a good relationship with Stacy and she's a big promoter of Huntington, and so, you know, to try to leverage that.
Yeah, that may be one way to leverage it. Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, Stacy and Stacy in the auditor's office, they get along well. So
They do.
Maybe Stacy can
Heat up.
tee it up,
Absolutely,
help us,
absolutely.
help us,
Yeah.
with that, effort.
Yeah, but I think if it's okay with you, what we'll do is we'll let, you know, obviously, I'm sure Jennifer knows we're here, we'll let her know, you know, you guys are gonna ask her to, you know, follow up those references and we can see, maybe if we could get a full vendor file. Let's get an idea of maybe the real potential of the program, that might be a little bit motivating. I don't know, we could certainly do that. We could see if her and her team wants to see another demo of the tool, just to actually get in there and see how it works. We could actually show them a demo, click around on different screens.
Yeah.
We can
That may
do that.
be helpful.
Yeah,
I think there's some hesitancy or,
It's changed, and I get it, yeah, and look, I get it, like,
yeah, change for them is not easy, so.
it's painful, I understand. Well, maybe if we do that, but if we can get that vendor file and try to put some real dollars to it, that might help too.
Yeah.
Maybe, does that sound like a good plan to you?
Yeah, but I know you know, Tony and I have been supportive, I've been, Brendan seems like it's a good idea as well, so I mean, I think we remain in support of the program, makes a lot of sense, so yeah, any effort we can make to
We're on the same team.
convince the folks across the hall would be great.
Okay, all right.
one county made a pretty good point in that the auditor's office essentially paid for an employee.
Yeah.
With the rebate program.
You're getting 75 grand, I mean, yeah, that's real money, right? I mean, that's significant money for things you're already doing, right?
Correct, yeah, it's to pay, those are already paid.
It's just, maybe you got, yeah, so yeah, I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, it's a no-brainer, right?
Logical, yeah.
Right, well, maybe we'll come back and say, look, you paid 3 employees, you know what I'm saying? That might be what we.
Don't give it back, we don't know.
That might be what we- Yeah, that might be what we find out from doing our vendor analysis, I'm saying, so,
Yeah.
okay, well, we're gonna be following up with Jennifer today. We'll let her know we met, kind of what we're thinking. We'd like to get a full vendor list and we want to do another demo.
That'd be great. Appreciate it.
We're on
Yep, thank you.
it. Thank you so much for the time. Happy New Year. Thank you.
That's good seeing you again. Thanks for
Great to see
coming
you
in.
as well.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
Good seeing you, Jeff.
Thanks. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Did you leave that one? Oh, here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's not it.
Yes, please. Just have to move with this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're thankful there's sunshine.
That's probably right in your wheelhouse.
Well, the intricacies of some of the card banking operations isn't necessarily, but yes.
Yes.
Overall. Yes. I did not realize that their primary profit came from the short-term spread and then.
Yeah, where it's on, that's online. You do what we have access to. Sit down, show you. It's there. Okay. keep that in the power, yeah. I want to make sure. Yeah, that's probably a good point. So, when would you come to speak to them? We're gonna talk with her this afternoon, just. Yeah, I mean, if she's good, at least I know her and myself, I think go back and forth. You know, making sure that they're correct, trying to get the colors to match, because if there was a lens and rest, the colors were different. That's, yeah. Yep, so, and then there was like 1, 2 words that we don't use, but, you know, we're trying to implement it into the ordinance and stuff, so. Make sure we're. Also. We're trying to make that. Okay, appreciate it. So.
Is it under rock and roll?
Sit down. So we go by.
Let's have a resolution 1/2026 presented on behalf of Jennifer Hunter, Madison County Auditor, a resolution approving the payment of invoices for the Madison County Auditor.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 121/26 presented on behalf of Jennifer Hunter, Madison County Auditor, a resolution approving the 2026 estimated property tax revenue and local government fund distribution formula.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 122/26 presented by Amy Reese, Clerk of Madison County Board of Commissioners, a resolution approving appropriations for the Mid-Ohio Sewer and Water District.
So moved.
Second. First and second. Any other discussion?
Just a note on this, since I know sometimes there's confusion from the public about how funding works with Mid-Ohio. And I sometimes get these questions. So this, I inquired, this is a grant that was applied for prior to the creation of Mid-Ohio, and this is for, let's see, for the water distribution network for Lafayette, right?
Correct.
And that project is, what's the status of that? Yeah,
I'm not sure.
okay, but this would be a pass-through of funds to Mid-Ohio for that project. Just to note that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes,
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution 12326 presented by Amy Reese, clerk of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. A resolution approving change order number 2 for the 2024 CDBG Plain City ADA Improvement Project.
so moved.
Second. First and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes,
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 124-26 presented by Amy Reese, clerk of Madison County Board of Commissioners. A resolution appointing Madison County representatives to the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission.
so moved.
Second. We have a first and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes,
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 125-26 presented on behalf of John Quinny, Madison County Sheriff. A resolution increasing appropriations to the Madison County Sheriff Dog and Kennel Fund.
so moved.
Second. We have a first and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes,
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 126-26 presented on behalf of Sherry Baldwin, Madison County Department of Family and Children. A resolution approving budget reductions for the Family and Children First Council.
so moved.
Second. A first and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes,
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution 127-26 presented on behalf of Chris Brown, Madison County Probate and Juvenile Court Judge. A resolution approving a budget revision for the Madison County Probate and Juvenile Court.
so moved.
Second. First and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
I believe Julia is coming later to talk about this resolution, so we'll wait until she gets here. That's all I have. I think I emailed something out, but I think we're gonna wait till next week on that one. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Dennis, you wanna?
Yes, sir.
Just morning, sir.
If they,
How are you this morning?
yeah. Building and planning and zoning has finally getting to a point where we have a web page. It's called OpenGov. So what happened is instead of people coming in with paperwork, they can upload the information and pay by credit card. Because right now we don't access a credit card. The only thing we have is pay, check or money order or money. So this will allow people to fill out the applications. That's everything from board of zoning appeals, subdivision review board, regional, rural, everything. So all the applications can be uploaded. We can see it. They can see when it was submitted in and when we start taking action. So it will follow everything. So right now, Jody and I are being trained. So we already had our first session. And it's going to be continued because there's so much that this program can do that would help and everything be in one central location.
Good.
And everybody can have access to it in every department. So we have like driveway permits, we have all our permits, the building permit stuff. And then once we approve a certain application, building to go in and say, okay, now we need your building. They don't have to call or wait for somebody to do it. It's already in the system. If we have questions, we can email the customer or the client and say, hey, you missing A, B, and C. So they know they can respond back and then we can respond within the departments. So yesterday was the first day. We're having some growing pain. But, we're still allowing people to come in until everything's worked out. But, like I said, as of today at 8:41, we still haven't had anything in there in our system, but this is going to be so much easier because there's so many things, especially between planning and zoning and building, where when they get their occupancy and everything else, instead of them always sending to us, they can just add it into the system and we can see it and vice versa. So everybody's able to see and track everything that goes through the system, which is great.
That is great. Yeah, moving to the 21st century. That's
Finally moving. Yeah.
And that's, built off of the, building software through Tom and West Jeff, so.
Yes, they've been working with this for a while, so now we're starting adding it to us, so we're excited for it, so,
very good. Yeah, that's good news.
yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Before you take off, Dennis, I did want to just talk about regional planning real quick, so make sure we're all on the same page. So regional planning, independent board, zoning was still doing a little bit of legwork for them. I think we're ready to cut the remaining threads to that cord. Are you guys in agreement with that? I mean, Dennis, can you kind of give them an update on kind of what you guys were doing administratively for regional planning and now what we expect them to be responsible for in 2026?
Yeah, so right now, we still gonna be taking in the projects. And then we will inform them, we'll be, Levin or who does, the secretary will be inform them what cases are come by and what they are about. So we give them what they're requesting, and then anything doing with previous boards, if they made a decision, approval, denial, whatever. So we will continue to do that. So we'll send them little birds of it. Now, right now, the regional, they're doing their minutes. So that's something they've been doing for a while now. I believe last month was the first time they recorded. So now they're recording the minutes from now on. It should be. So from that point, they will be responsible in sending out mail to people within 500 feet. We won't be doing that anymore. Of course, they will do their minutes and we do on the record of action. They will send that back to us, let us know.
Okay.
So if for whatever reason we don't get it, I will hound them until I get it, until I find out what everything happens. Now with the comp plan and the zoning resolution, I mean, I could come in for that, but we don't attend no meetings unless it's those two items. There's no reason to be out there. They run their own meetings and, we're gonna allow them to take more control of what they want.
So advertising as well.
Advertising, yes.
Possible, so that now.
Agendas.
Agendas.
Agendas,
Liability insurance.
yeah, so.
We're giving templates to all that. So they'll have a template and they can just follow it.
Yeah, they were advised to, purchase liability insurance. I don't know if they ever did or not. I think we put them in contact with Don Herman, something like that. But do you expect any pushback or concerns from regional planning, Dennis, when we say, okay, you guys are fully on your own?
I see a little bit maybe from Levin, because he's the one who's all the paperwork is going to fall. But I mean, like I said, Jody, she can help, because there's nothing this month. Maybe next month she can help put the agenda together, but I'm gonna send him all the templates today. So if you have questions, you still have us to talk to, plus Val is right beside him. So she knows how to do all that stuff, because she taught us how to do it. So, yeah, we're here to help. But we're not gonna put all that, we got other boards that, we gotta make sure everything's correct.
Yeah.
And, so I will be doing, some workshops on what's important and what they should be looking at, everything for every board. So.
And we did discuss when we were making this change, as far as support staff, that I made the suggestion that maybe they bring in a clerk from a township for a nominal fee, to handle some of these tasks. I don't know if that's been considered by the board or not. But there's options out there that, you know, where this can be accomplished. It's just, we're finally moving forward. It's taken a couple years where they're an autonomous board.
Which we told them they would, maybe
Yeah.
they were, and they needed to be. Is everyone paid their contribution? I mean, are all 14 townships in the county contributing? Do we know if that's happened yet or is happening?
We don't know.
We don't.
Think Levin's keeping track of that.
I haven't paid anything since
Okay,
last 6 months of Sumter Township, so.
okay.
And I haven't got a fee for running on that board. They usually bill us for our commissioner.
They do, regional planning does.
They have
So maybe they are collecting.
I've not seen it. I haven't paid since March.
Yeah, but you paid it in the past. You
I
paid,
have paid it.
you have paid
I've paid
regional planning in the
Yes.
past.
There's been no discussion about that topic at the. So how are they established, this board? Is it a creation of the commissioners? Is it creation of statute? I know they're an independent advisory body. Why would it fall on them to send out the notices, for instance? And I understand why it shouldn't fall on you. But of all the boards in the process, why is that their responsibility?
Well, they're an independent board. They decided that on their own. That was before I started and I heard about it.
Okay,
And so they were already aware that this is going to happen,
okay,
but they were leaning too much on us.
sure.
It's a lot of work.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if they want to get a clerk or whatever to help do that, that's fine. But they knew this was about to happen.
Right. And I
Nick,
don't
wasn't this, no, sorry, I was just saying, Nick, wasn't this board established decades ago, right? Didn't we go back in the record and it was like the 60s or something?
Yes.
That this was established by the commissioners?
It's a statutory process.
Yeah,
It was redone recently.
Sure.
But you're right, I think it was in the sixties. Part of the reason it was reorganized because a lot of the formation documentation couldn't find, including membership and bylaws. The other issue was that the municipalities were members when it was formed in the sixties. They weren't attending the meetings. They really had no stake in the projects coming before the commission. And so there was a quorum issue on a regular basis. So the Regional Planning Commission voted to dissolve, and then they reformed. And that process included every political subdivision passing a resolution in favor of joining a new Regional Planning Commission. So that's the 14 townships as well as the county. All of them approved the resolution to form a new Regional Planning Commission. Then a meeting was set, and there's a statutory process where there's publication of the initial meeting. They met together, and I worked with a number of the leaders from the prior Regional Planning Commission to draft bylaws, which were then adopted at the first meeting as well as some officers that were open. So now, and they were a couple of years in, there's 15 members now of this Regional Planning Commission. And the statute's very clear on funding, how they would operate, and it's simply a resolution that's passed by the Regional Planning Commission itself for a set amount that each separate political entity would kick into the operating fund.
Okay. So they are essentially an advisory body for us. The projects that are coming through, we ultimately have the final vote.
Yeah.
If there was a dispute, if there's a lawsuit, the buck stops with us. So I guess,
What do you mean by that?
well, wouldn't it be about our decision, right? The final resolution that we pass and our decision to change zoning or to whatever we're doing.
So there's a difference between what the law would allow and what is common sense. You're talking common sense, right? If a person is unsatisfied with the ultimate resolution of the project that they've submitted, it's likely they would sue you.
One, because it's gonna be easier to attribute their damages to your decision. Second, you got deeper pockets, right? So when they look at the Regional Planning Commission, they're probably thinking, well, it's just a recommendation. And two, even if we do sue them, what are we going to recover? That doesn't mean they couldn't be sued, right? Then there's still the potential for them to be sued, and that would not fall under the umbrella protection of the county.
Right, so what I'm getting at is a critical piece, like the notification piece. If we are sued and we say, oh, well, we think they did it, or we hope they did it, or that's what I'm getting at, you know, key pieces like that, that could be actual ground, I mean, key statutory requirements. That could be grounds for our decision not holding up. Wouldn't we want to take that under our purview? And that's just one that comes to.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I wanna shoot from the hip, make an analysis of the impact that would have on the lawsuit, and obviously the contested debate there. But I guess I would point out that you're still a member of the commission and would have the ability to ensure as a member of the commission that it's operating correctly. Right?
I understand that, but the administration of distribution of notices and determining what's 500 feet and
That's why this is how it was done for the last several years, because the county essentially took it over and ensured it was being done correctly, but you're paying out more than your fair share.
But
It's ultimately up to the commission.
It's
their call.
It is their call. We had a debate, whatever, 2-3 years ago when we did this, whether or not to do a regional planning commission altogether. And just go county planning commission. I was in favor of the county planning commission. I remain in favor of the county planning commission. I think regional planning is a very bad idea. It doesn't make sense. We're the only county in the state of Ohio that does it that way. There's no other county that does it this way, just to be clear.
That's true.
There's none that has a regional planning commission, that the region is just the county. If they have a regional planning commission, it's truly a region. It's multiple counties. It's Union, Logan, Champaign. That's a regional planning commission. That makes sense. That regional planning commission has their own staff. That regional planning has their own clerks. That makes sense. This regional planning commission has no staff, has no clerks. It doesn't make sense.
and if you made it a county, then that would solve all the problems.
We'll solve all the problems, but the problem is the trustees now don't think want to give up that
You
role.
need this position to them.
And I was told by them, many of them, that they want control of what comes in and what they want to see and what they want to vote on. So I'm like, well,
And just like the municipalities, that, you know, Plain City doesn't have necessarily a stake in what's happening in Deer Creek Township. Well, I would say the same thing. Deer Creek Township doesn't have the same stake in Darby Township that Myron has, so it doesn't really make sense. The municipalities didn't attend, because they didn't feel like they had anything at stake. But also Deer Creek doesn't have the same thing, you know, they have nothing at stake when it's a development we're considering in Darby Township. So the whole setup does not make sense.
yeah, and what people should do is go to that township meeting, talk to that committee, then go to me, subdivision, and then whatever option they can do.
Most counties
The
have,
other townships have no beef on it.
yeah, in most counties, there's a planning commission, 3 commissioners are on the planning commission. There's 8 additional members, so most of them have an 11-member planning commission, 3 commissioners, 8 appointees. My thing is, well, we can appoint, you know, if the trustees want to continue to have a stake, let's make sure that the trustees get 4 of those 8 appointments, and let's focus those appointments on the trustees that are in areas of economic growth and development. You know, I'd suggested Darby Township, I'd suggested Jefferson Township, a Deer Creek Township member. Does that make sense? Because they're gonna be impacted by growth. No offense to Stokes Township, but like, they're not gonna see any growth or development. And like, they don't really have a stake in a lot of these decisions that are being made. So like Stokes Township is on a board that's making a decision for development and growth in Darby Township, which is 50 minutes away. Like, it doesn't really make a whole lot of common sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of counties do it.
Also, most counties do.
They get all the regional people they have, the 4 that's growing the most, have them part of the region.
Yeah, like I said, we're the only county that has a regional, I think, we're the only county that has a regional planning commission where the region is the county.
Yep.
It does not make sense.
I have a lot of people say the same thing. The other planners, they say they don't have it.
No,
There's no such thing.
it doesn't make, yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We are one of one. And that's not a good thing.
You know, one exposure failure to act by this board, it's a point of liability.
I've expressed that a number of times, actually, Dennis and I have talked about that a number of times too, and, we've seen that from this commission, that they're quick to cancel a meeting or table a project and then, say, we'll address it the next meeting. You're right, I mean, that delay in the project can definitely result in damages.
I mean, I don't think it's
Doing it now, so I don't see a difference.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's worth gosh, I know we just set it up 2-3 years ago. I don't know if it's re-engaging on that topic and being like, look, guys, like, this doesn't make sense. I mean, I've looked into it more in the last couple of years, and, like I said, I don't know that they're even aware, like, this is a one-of-one setup, and the setup doesn't make sense. So I don't know if it means re-engaging on that topic. I mean, I know the trustees were reluctant to give up their kind of advisory, authority, but it's also like, gentlemen, this doesn't make sense. And like, if you're a trustee and you're opposed to a project, like, it's not like we're not going to listen to you, right? I mean, even if you're from a neighboring township, it's not like we're not gonna take that into consideration, but it's also, like I said, somebody in Stokes Township, voicing opposition to a project in Darby Township. Well, if Darby Township's in favor of the project, then that should probably carry the day. So I don't know if it's worth re-engaging the trustees. I mean, maybe now that they see, hey, we gotta contribute, we gotta have a clerk, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Maybe now that we see what it all encompasses, maybe we don't send out notices, we're in trouble. Maybe we don't do, malfeasance, misfeasance, nonfeasance, we could be in trouble if we're not doing our statutory duty. Maybe they would reconsider and think, well, maybe it's best to go with a county planning commission.
Yeah.
Byron, do you have the thoughts on?
I mean, I really think that they should have at least 4 members from the regional, be a part of the rule. And, they'd be able to vote on stuff. They all get to see it at the same time. But that's how all of them do it.
Byron, did you have a hand up?
You're referring to a couple of years ago when this was all approached and discussed initially.
Yep.
I was very protective of what are we going to give up as trustees, as the township trustees, if you guys would do that, but in the course of the last 3 years, as we move forward and as I get more of an understanding, it's almost like I looked at through the glass, and it wasn't clean, and it seems a lot clearer to me. I think it would make sense for you guys to approach them again. I don't know how they would talk, how they would feel. I'm not part of that commission anymore, but I think it would make sense to engage and talk with them and say, hey, it was exactly what you're talking about there, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It also occurred during a time frame when public utilities were causing a lot of concern.
Yes.
Of the
Yes.
townships and
Yes.
the county.
Yeah, sure.
If the commission is effective, adequate, maybe this isn't as big of a deal, but as soon as if they would start falling off on their responsibilities, then it certainly, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, most counties, like I said, have a professional planning. Department planning commission. I mean, I get concerned.
In terms of taking care of responsibility, my biggest concern is that Levin is nearing the end of his career. Bears a lot of that responsibility.
And when he's gone, I don't know that anybody else wants to do it. Like, I don't think anybody wants to serve as kind of the clerk, secretary of that organization. I don't think anybody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do meeting minutes. Nobody wants to send out agendas. Nobody wants to do the notices. Like, they don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, they can hire a clerk to do that.
They could for a nominal fee. You're right. They could hire a clerk. Yeah.
So,
I don't think it's bad to plant that seed.
mhm.
I mean, maybe we didn't make the argument forceful enough last time around that, hey, this may not make sense, and here's all the reasons why this doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know if they were told that, hey, this setup's one in the state of Ohio. It probably logically doesn't make sense. And I get it, I think, like you said, Myron, a lot of the trustees didn't want to give up that, they felt like they would be giving something up in that process. And I don't look at it that way. Like I said, my if we set up a county planning commission, I mean, my thought would be to at least designate one, especially to set those growth areas. I wanted a Jefferson Township trustee on there. I want Deer Creek. I want Darby. I want, where we expect that growth and development. I want at least one member from those townships to be on that 11-member, planning commission. And that makes, all the projects would come from here. We'd have a professional process. We'd have it lined up. I mean, I think that just makes logical sense.
Mhm.
And that's the way, like I said, most every, I deal with planning commissions in my day-to-day job all the time, and that's just the way it's set up, and you have contacts in Fairfield and Delaware and Licking and Union, I mean. It makes sense.
And the great thing of combining those 4 members to rule is that the process is shorter.
Mhm.
All developers that talk to me and say our process is too long. They got too many meetings. You gotta wait 30 days in between. And a lot of them die. This would, if we want some kind of development to happen, something has to get it. I mean, whoever those 4 members be part of the rule and everybody else who wants to listen, they can attend. At least they know those 4 will have a vote. But, the process is too long. And by that time, I mean, I had a couple of people already told me they're not gonna go through it.
Yeah, because somebody wants to submit like a plat for a development, I mean, that's probably a long process.
6 months. If there's no opposition, if there's opposition, 6 months.
So for today's conversation, just, we'll inform regional planning that, they're gonna have to assume all responsibilities in 2026. Just want to make sure you guys were okay with that, and, Commissioner Shea being a member of that, the committee, that you'll probably people will have some questions for you. So I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page moving forward, so.
Yeah, I think just in that communication, stressing the past conversations that have been had, people sometimes forget.
Yes. Yeah, and it's, it's been a 2-year transition period that we've gradually, I'm not sure what the word is, I don't want to say gave up, but transition. So some responsibilities, passing them towards, assisting them with their activities and responsibilities. So, we feel that they're in a good spot now to, basically assume everything and then see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's better in the sense that they have a quorum now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately
Before, they were not even having meetings, they didn't have quorums, I mean, they just,
We're having.
or they're having meetings without a quorum. Yeah, having meetings without quorum, yeah.
yes.
Technically, 2 months ago, there was a meeting without a quorum.
Good.
Because, yeah, that's the case, because I was included as the quorum. And I'm on the zoning commission, so I can't be utilized for that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a few years ago,
We had the numbers. I didn't realize that you were ineligible to.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, we literally had, 4 or 5 people showing up to the meeting. And to Nick's point, voting, without a quorum. And, so then it was, how do we encourage these folks to attend these meetings? And then it just started to kind of snowball, and things were brought to light, and, that's how we got to where we are today, more or less. Like, we've got to fix this, and this was the solution that was decided.
Anything, let me know.
Right.
More discussions or whatever.
Thank you. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Results there, question.
Yeah, never heard results. Julia, you're up.
Motivation program. Right now, we're focusing on the federal government. They open up their application period. And luckily, we did a lot of work last year And all that good stuff can roll over, so we're gonna keep our current applications. And we do have one new person that would like to be added to the list of applications. So I sent Amy some information, so hopefully there's a resolution. Rob is the recognized signature authority, so NRCS expects to see Rob's signature on things. So in a nutshell, I'm asking for approval for Rob to sign up this new application. It also includes a pending offer letter based on acceptance into the program. And those are the two pieces of documentation I need for to add this person up, and the deadline's Thursday, so I would love to get a signature before I leave today, so I can see that.
Very good. And
Here.
we have that
I
resolution.
have the resolution of the letter, have you, we'll read it and then have you look it over. A resolution number 12826 presented on behalf of Julia Cumming, Madison Soil and Water Conservation District. A reservation approving the continuation of the NRCS Agriculture Conservation Easement Entity application, adding a new parcel and authorizing signature authority.
So moved.
Second. A first and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
But no, I couldn't find a signature on the application part of it.
I know, that's okay, I'm printing my own and have it nicely stickered for. And please sign and date.
That's a sign language. That sign language.
And please sign.
Okay.
Above your name. I didn't get all this place. And then here, you're signing. Here and date here. So,
13. That work?
and then I have sort of a fun topic to ask about. So usually, so let's see, the third Wednesday of the month is the volunteer program. You usually recognize the volunteers. And I was wondering, instead of certificates, if we can do work gloves, because they are very hands-on type of volunteers. And it's also safety focused, so I think even though we have a lot of restrictions on buying clothing for people, these are volunteers and it is safety focused. So I think the park district would have, I know you're not the park district right now, would have the authority to make this kind of purchase if you're in favor of it, of doing something different this year. And so we have 24 volunteers, and this would be about $150 because these are leather work gloves. What do you think?
So gloves rather than a plaque, is that?
Yeah, rather than those certificates that came in the folder.
Piece of paper.
Yes, and what's nice about this is, it's useful, it won't collect dust. It is something that'll probably last a year, and maybe more if they're nice leather gloves, but you know, sometimes we hand things and people don't know what to do with them, but this is something people can use.
Maybe they come back to use the gloves.
Right, exactly, and then like, oh, get some cool gloves, and I can, you know, use it for volunteer.
That's fine, yeah.
Dip them in gold.
Oh. And I'm sorry, we don't have time to personalize them, I spotted there, but I do think it says, watch your hands, and I do think it's key. If you're kind of in favor of it, I'll go ahead and order it and then come back to the park district and kind of.
I've got no issue with that. It just sounds wonderful. Keep them working. Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies, gentlemen. Anything else for the good of the order? Going once, going twice, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I'll take that.
Thank you.
Sorry, copies. Yeah.
So.
Let me.
I talked to the, what's his name, Huntington, what's his name?
Eddie Bauer.
Eddie.